Afternoon, everybody. My name is Mark Peralivas, and that rhymes with For All of Us, and I am the People's Party candidate for the Guelph riding for the October federal election. I hope you vote for me. If you haven't got your tickets yet for the Maxime Bernier interview that's happening in Guelph, I get to interview him. Please get them soon. The link is in the description, and I hope you join us on the 19th. It's next Friday, so 7 o'clock. It'll be lots of fun. So I like to go on the internet and I check Twitter, and this tweet blew me away. I can't believe this. This is incredibly divisive. This is incredibly irresponsible, in my opinion. And Mr. Goodale is not doing his job. And I'm going to show you what I mean. But first, here's the tweet. Rachel Gilmore, who's an online web journalist at CTV News, says, quote, new Public Safety Minister Ralph Goodale's office is accusing People's Party of Canada leader Maxime Bernier of attempting to legitimize white supremacy and white nationalism. What? First, I'm going to show you Bernier's response, and he says, I have no lessons to receive from the government that has done more than any other to divide Canadians and undermine the fabric of our society. You Liberals are the haters. You hate Canada, its people, history, and identity. You are trying to destroy it. We will stop you. And here's the article, and I'm going to show you what I mean by I don't think Mr. Goodale is doing his job. I've got a very robust case to make on that front. And the fact that he's using his office's time to attack a political rival for Justin Trudeau seems really, really at odds with what he's supposed to be doing, considering the context of what's happening in Canada currently. What do I mean? Well, I'll show you. CTV News is reporting, and this article is ridiculous, devoid of fact other than the fact that Mr. Goodale is saying that Mr. Bernier is trying to legitimize white supremacy. Other than that, there's nothing factual about this article. It is trash. It is propaganda garbage. Here we go. Public Safety Minister Ralph Goodale's office is accusing People's Party of Canada leader Maxime Bernier of attempting to legitimize white supremacy and white nationalism. The statement comes after Bernier was photographed with people who appear to belong to an alleged hate group on Sunday in Calgary. The men wearing vests adorned with the symbols of the Northern Guard surrounded Bernier with smiles on their faces. Quote, white supremacy and white nationalism undermine the fabric of our society. Carleen Virian, a spokesperson for Goodale, said in a statement provided to CTV News in reaction to the photo. For political leaders to court these views is a terrible mistake. We condemn Mr. Bernier's attempt to legitimize this type of hatred. A spokesperson for the PPC leader, Martin Mass, said Bernier, quote, does not know the people in this picture. Mr. Bernier takes hundreds of pictures with everyone who asks at rallies and wherever he goes. He does not inquire about the people's views before taking the picture, said Mass in a statement emailed to CTV News. Okay, so Mr. Goodale has said this is divisive and scary, but it doesn't, even if white supremacy and white nationalism were part of this, it wouldn't be something, he's the public safety minister, right? He's the minister for public safety. It wouldn't be something that is necessarily on his radar until something happened. So it's interesting to see this push for white supremacy, and the evidence here is so ridiculously flimsy. The amount of pictures taken with Mr. Bernier throughout the last 6 months, 8 months since he started his party, almost a year now, have been a lot. A lot of people are interested. A lot of people are trying to influence his party, what he wants to do. A lot of people are helping him. A lot of people are talking to him. And who knows, right? But the point is, he doesn't know these people necessarily. And he said that he doesn't know these people. His spokesperson has said he doesn't know these people. But all of that doesn't matter to Goodale or CTV News or to the tone of this newspaper article. Now, I've said that Mr. Goodale is not doing his job, and that's a weighty accusation. What do I mean by that? Well, first, I think we need to look at Ottawa's public health, what they say about fentanyl and carfentinal, because this is a public safety issue, and one that we've been told repeatedly by Mr. Goodale is nothing to worry about. Don't worry about that. It's fine. It's fine. And the situations that need to stack up to have what's happening in Canada right now requires that the public safety ministers be more focused on something ridiculous like this, like white supremacy or white nationalism, white supremacy, rather than being focused on what's actually happening. Meaning, we have Chinese triads producing drugs in China and then flooding Canada with those drugs, and then using the money to purchase real estate, thereby increasing the real estate market. And oh, by the way, have you noticed that we've had a drug overdose problem in Canada the last couple of years? I have. Have you noticed also that a whole bunch of criminals seem to be getting arrested with record amounts of this very, very, very toxic drug? I wonder why that is. I wonder why we can't seem to stop it. Where are they producing this? It seems to be China, and I'll get there. But first, Here's Ottawa's public health on fentanyl and carfentinal, because this is important. What is fentanyl? Fentanyl is an opiate that is much more toxic than most other opiates. Opiates include drugs like heroin, morphine, fentanyl, methadone, and codeine. Fentanyl is usually prescribed in a patch form as a painkiller. It is around 50 to 100 times more toxic than morphine. This makes risk of accidental overdose much higher. I scroll down. Carfentinal. Carfentinal is an opiate that is used by veterinarians for very large animals like elephants. It is not for humans to use. It is approximately 100 times more toxic than fentanyl and 10,000 times more toxic than morphine. This means carfentinal can be deadly in extremely small amounts. And I've got another article here that talks about carfentinal. Here it is. Carfentinal is a potent and dangerous opiate. It is a form of fentanyl, but 100 times stronger. It is 10,000 times stronger than morphine and 4,000 times stronger than heroin. Carfentinal can be deadly in extremely small amounts. In humans, a dose as small as 20 micrograms, that's less than a gram, which is less than a grain of salt, is enough to be fatal. Okay, now let's go back to why I think Mr. Goodale is not doing his job. Here is the Danforth Shooter and all of that situation, and he says, Mr. Goodale says, Ralph Goodale's office says there is no national security nexus to the Toronto Danforth shooter. That's interesting. The spokesperson for Public Safety Minister Ralph Goodale says that while the investigation into the mass shooting in Toronto is still early, there's no evidence supporting a connection to ISIS. At this time, there's no national security nexus to the shooter. Hilary Pearce told HuffPost Canada Wednesday, stressing Toronto police are leading the probe. And the link is in the description. You can go back in time and read about this. But no national security here. Somebody just went crazy and started shooting people. Oh, except that he's got some connections. Hold on a second. Maybe there's more. This is July 25th, 2018. Older brother of Toronto mass shooter was facing drug and weapons charges, court docs. The older brother of the gunman responsible for one of Toronto's worst mass shootings was facing drug and weapons charges when he went into a coma last year, court records show. After Faisal Hussain was identified as having carried out the Sunday attack that killed 2 and wounded 13, it emerged that his brother had been unconscious in a coma at Sunnybrook Hospital for months. I scroll down. Released on February 21st of that year on $10,000 bail, he was ordered to live in Pickering with his surety, a 33-year-old named Mayim Ansari. At some point between February 2017 and September 2017, February 2017 and September 2017, Fahad suffered a drug overdose and was sent to hospital where he is now in a coma. On September 20th, 2017, Durham Regional Police executed a search warrant at Ansari's address after firefighters noticed a suspicious substance in the basement and alerted police. Police say that they discovered 33 guns and seized 42 kilograms of what was later identified as the deadly street drug carfentinal, believed to be 100 times more potent than fentanyl. That's not national security? And then his brother goes and shoots up the Danforth? Not national security. I scroll down. On Wednesday, the so-called Islamic State claimed responsibility for the Toronto mass shooting, although provided no evidence linking the terrorist group to the Sunday shooting. Toronto Police Chief Mark Saunders said there's no evidence to support these claims, and Public Safety Minister Ralph Goodale said Tuesday that there's currently no known nexus between Hussain and national security. Interesting. Here's another situation. This is Linda Frum, and she says 2 weeks ago, we learned 2 individuals were arrested in Richmond Hill, Ontario for possessing explosives. We now know the FBI is involved. Today, I asked Senator Harder why the Trudeau government continues to say this is a local matter. This was 28th May 2019. And here is an update. Well, here's 2 articles from the Post Millennial. Father and son arrested for explosive devices in Richmond Hill. And then the update, they got bail. Yeah, they got bail. 18-year-old involved in Ontario explosive bust was on the cusp of radicalization. Yeah, but they got bail. No problem. See you guys later. And here's another one. Senator Frum again talking about national security and the strange things that just keep happening in Canada. Here's Senator Frum tweeting, quote, "Do you agree Canadians deserve information about this incident from our public safety minister? Even if it was just an accident, how did such a bad driver get put in charge of a fuel truck at Canada's biggest airport?" Yeah. If you didn't hear about this, don't worry. Almost nobody did. CBC News is reporting, and this is May 10th, incredibly scary Air Canada plane fuel tanker collide at Pearson International Airport. 5 people were injured during the collision of an Air Canada Express plane and a fuel tanker truck at Toronto's Pearson International Airport early Friday. The collision occurred around 1:36 a.m. as Flight 8615 was taxiing to a gate at Terminal 1 with 50 passengers aboard. The DHC 8300 was originally headed to Sudbury from Toronto, but turned back to Pearson due to foggy conditions in the northern Ontario city. According to Peel Regional Police Sergeant Bancroft Wright, the tanker truck struck the plane and the driver has been charged with dangerous operation of the vehicle. The plane was pretty much written off, Wright told CBC News. The plane's 2 pilots, flight attendant, and 2 passengers were treated for injuries, according to Wright. So how does that happen? How does somebody who's so careless as to drive into an airplane get get the ability to work at Pearson International Airport, one of the biggest airports in Canada. Here's the Carfentinal sheet. So remember Carfentinal, we're going back to the drugs. This is yet more strange things happen. And I wanted to prep you how Chinese gangs are laundering drug money through Vancouver real estate. Okay, this is happening Canada-wide. I talk about this a lot, but if you never, ever have seen my show before, you need a prepper. So here it is. This is Global News reporting on how the Vancouver method of Chinese syndicates laundering money works. Here we go. Criminal syndicates that control chemical factories in China's booming Guangdong province are shipping narcotics, including fentanyl, to Vancouver, washing the drug sales in British Columbia's casinos and high-priced real estate, and transferring laundered funds back to Chinese factories to repeat this deadly trade cycle, a Global News investigation shows. The flow of narcotics and chemical precursors and rising death counts in Western Canada caused by synthetic opiates is driven by sophisticated organized crime groups known as triads. Okay, so prep, that's how they make the drugs. Here we go. RCMP charges Kingston on youth with terror-related offenses after security probe. Oh, this one's not drugs. Oh, hold on. Maybe it is. This one's not drugs. The next one's drugs. Sorry about that. 20-year-old man also arrested Thursday was later released without charge. This should have gone with the explosives earlier. I apologize. The tabs were just moved around. The RCMP National Security Team has arrested and charged an Ontario youth with a terrorism-related offense by the police force said Friday following an investigation in Kingston, Ontario. Police have laid 2 charges against the young person who is accused of knowingly facilitating a terrorist activity and counseling another person to deliver, place, charge, or detonate an explosive or other lethal device against a place of public use with the intent to cause death or serious bodily injury. And here's the drugs. I apologize. This is Net News Ledger, and Greenstone OPP sees 124 kilograms of fentanyl, so not quite as bad as Carfentinal, but still bad. On the 21st of March 2019 at 12:55 p.m., members of the Greenstone Ontario Provincial Police OPP detachment received a report of an eastbound black sports car that had just stolen gas from a Nippon gas station. Police conducted a patrol and observed the vehicle on Highway 11 just north of Windigogan Lake Road, and I got that wrong last time. Maybe I got it right this time. Police conducted a traffic stop on the vehicle on Highway 11, just west of Highway 854 junction. Police arrested 2 male subjects from Mississauga, Ontario. A subsequent search of the vehicle produced 248 grams of purple fentanyl with a street value of $124,000. 19-year-old Mohammed Al-Zarif and 21-year-old MHD Ali Bashir Almani were both charged with the following offenses: theft under $5,000 and possession of a Schedule I controlled substance, fentanyl, for the purpose of trafficking, contrary to Section 5.2 of the Controlled Substances Act. Both accused were held in custody and had a video bail hearing on March 22nd at the Greenstone OPP detachment. And I did an in-depth look at this when it happened, and essentially they both have disappeared into the layer of they had to call up a translator from Toronto to talk to them, thereby delaying their court cases. And I haven't been able to find any information at all, zero, about this since this. So I have zero update. And well, the only update I got was speculation that they would never be heard from again from the original person who was reporting this. So wild, right? Here's Timmins. Timmins sees influx of deadly purple fentanyl. 3 overdose deaths in 2 days and 8 drug-related arrests with the same time frame have heightened public awareness of a potentially deadly substance called purple fentanyl. A large influx of this substance has hit the streets in Timmins, says Mark DiPatti. Sorry, I've got that wrong. Spokesman for the Timmins Police Service. It's resulted in a number of tragedies, but it's also resulted in a number of investigations that have yielded arrests and charges against those persons who engage in that type of criminal activity. Fentanyl, a highly addictive pain medication, is an opiate that's 100 times more powerful than heroin, while carfentanil is 5,000 times more potent. Purple fentanyl is a Play-Doh-like mixture of heroin and either fentanyl or carfentanil. Oh, roll the dice. It's a little bit of Russian roulette, right? So when Ralph Goodale spends his time trying to win political battles for his boss by saying that Maxime Bernier is trying to legitimize white supremacy and undermine the fabric of our society, maybe, just maybe, he should start taking a look at the drugs and the weapons and the explosives and the terrorist threats and all of the other stuff that is being completely ignored in favor of this false and fake narrative. Provably false and fake. Really. So, Mr. Bernier is not a white nationalist. He is not a white supremacist. And he has absolutely no ties that I have ever heard of that make that true. So this reporting is irresponsible. This statement from Mr. Goodale's office is irresponsible. And I really feel like Mr. Goodale has a whole bunch of work that he should really be focusing on rather than trying to win an October election for Justin Trudeau. My name is Mark Peralivas. I'm the People's Party candidate for Guelph for the October election. I hope you vote for me. Thanks for watching today.